Well, I am here with Shannon Bennett, and she's the host of More About Birth. So tell me a little bit about your podcast. What's it about?
More About Birth is kind of just what the title says. It's birth and everything else that goes along with it. I'm a home birth midwife, but I feel like there needs to be some education going on out there for just all things birth. Moms have questions, and we're hoping to answer them.
So how long have you been doing your podcast?
Only about a month and a half.
A month and a half. So where can people see your podcast or hear your podcast?
You can hear my podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple, all over the place actually, or you can go to the website at ncmidwifery.com and you can pick it up there.
And then is it available in video like this video
There's
podcast?
also a YouTube channel, yes. So a lot of the podcasts actually have guests that are demonstrating something or bring something, that they want us to see, different examples. So if you really want to get the full effect, watch the YouTube version.
So now we're in your set, right? This is where you shoot More About Birth?
This is my set.
So I'm joining you. So where's this set at?
It's actually in my home, in my dining room.
Wow, so you're able to do your podcast right here, get up, get ready, entertain guests right here in your house.
All right here, which is really nice.
So now you said you're a home birth midwife. Where do you practice?
I actually practice out of my home. I have an office
Wow.
that is in the upstairs of our home. So, podcasting can be done from anywhere.
So what was the reason for a podcast? How did this start?
Do you really want me to answer that?
Yeah, I do want you to answer that.
Keith is my husband. This man has more vision than I can put in a bucket and carry. I'm actually overwhelmed by his vision sometimes. So I've always had this vision to write a book about natural pain relief for labor and share that. I feel like it's something that's not out there. So we would talk about that. There'd be nights in the hot tub where we'd sit and he'd share all this vision with me about we could do a podcast, we could up the social media, and then people will know who you are, and then you can get all this information out there to people.
Right.
So he sees the whole picture, and he's able to break it down step by step into a doable plan.
Right.
Whereas I just see the whole picture and go, like.
So you're like what, 52? We figured like 60 days into your podcast.
Right.
Obviously, lots of months planning prior to that because we spent some time talking about it. So what have been some of the benefits? Obviously, it stretched you, right?
Oh, it stretched me beyond stretch. I have learned how to do Instagram. I've learned how to post additional exciting things on Facebook.
So tell me about
photographs.
Tell me about placenta pants.
Oh,
I guess you learned a lesson about posting on Facebook.
like what to post on Facebook, right? What do people pay attention to? So I'm looking one day for labor tools on the internet, and up pops this picture of these leggings covered in pictures of placentas, of all things.
Right.
And I'm like, ooh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So
can I just say, to me, that would be gross.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the design, right? The pants design was placentas.
Yeah.
So it's like this round placenta shot all over the pants.
Yeah. And if you don't know what a placenta is, that's the organ that is grown during pregnancy to nourish your baby.
Which comes in out, we know it comes out after. But anyway.
So I thought, this is odd. I wonder how many people would pay attention to this. So I posted it on there. And it was amazing. It got more hits, I think, than anything I'd put on in months and months and months.
And then actually days later or a few minutes later, I can't remember, you got a 5-star review on your Google business page. And at that particular point, I was responding to them. And you said, well, I wonder how what spurred this review, because you hadn't talked to this particular.
It was the placenta pants picture.
Yeah. So what was the lesson that you learned then about social media and the power of influence?
I mean, obviously, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
I mean, and I've noticed since then also that everybody loves babies. Anything you post, a picture of any baby, people look at it.
So in reality, the goal for the podcast, you talked about your Natural Pain Relief for Labor manual. So What does the podcast do for you? What has it done for you so far?
Well, my first thought was it's going to cause me more work. It's going to take more time that I don't have. And I wasn't really feeling comfortable being in front of a camera, having anybody anywhere in the world be able to look at me and see me and critique me. And so that was the big stretch. But I guess I've realized now that it has given me a platform to get information out to people. We have special guests that come on. I learn things from these special guests even, and it just feels like an avenue for me to be able to get this information to more people. I can help more people right here from my dining room than I could have imagined. I mean, there's people listening in other parts of the world already after 60 days. Who would have thought?
So if you're passionate about something, like, there's no question. I mean, I know you, I'm your husband. You're as passionate about babies and birth and the topic of birth more than anybody else I know. And the podcast is giving you the opportunity to share that and involve other people. Like, you just had a chiropractor and his wife on the show today.
Yes,
right?
and I learned some amazing things that I didn't know, and I've been seeing a chiropractor all my life.
So for someone that may be tuning into my page, Shannon, and they want to know, if I got involved with Life Journey Productions, what would Keith's role be? How could he help me? How have I been able to help you through this transition with your natural pain relief for labor manual, with your podcast, with your social media? And then you just started a LinkedIn page for the very first time yesterday.
I did. He's been bugging me to do it forever, and I finally did it.
Yeah, and so I'm your first networked person, which is kind of right, because we're working together. My business, Life's Journey Production, is working with your business, which is Natural Care Midwifery, and More About Birth podcast is just an extension of your educational reach. And
to answer your question, I think the biggest thing that I've realized through all of this is that I have all these ideas, I have these dreams, I have vision for these different things, like wanting to get the message out there about home birth, about chiropractic care during pregnancy, about the importance of nutrition in pregnancy, all these things that are burning in me, natural pain relief for labor. But I'm the kind of person that I see it all and it completely overwhelms me, and then I feel like I shut down. So my husband, on the other hand, is such a visionary. He sees the whole picture, and it's like his brain starts going, and he's like, okay, first we do this, then we do this, then we add that, and then this piece comes into play. And it was kind of like a life coach, telling me, okay, first of all, I want you to go away for the weekend. I want you to write this book. I want you to write this manual. So I did that a few times. And then he goes, okay, now we're going to edit this. And then he took care of getting a publisher. It's just one step at a time where I just see the whole picture and I just go, this is impossible. And he sees it broken down and knows how to make it all come into play.
And there's been a lot of, obviously we've been married for a lot of years, but there's still been trust back and forth. Because I said, just trust me. If you post on your Natural Care Midwifery Facebook page,
I didn't really believe him at first.
Then you're going to see results. And one of the first things that we saw was this 5-star review that came through the placenta pants. And for us, it was just a training opportunity for me to be able to say, you don't necessarily know the value until you see the results. And then the podcast, the same thing. So tell the story without, sharing too much details about the client that came in to see you yesterday and the difference now after the podcast has been out there and now how people
So I had a consultation, which I offer a free 1-hour consultation, so people can come in and find out about home birth and how it all works.
See if they even want to be involved in what you do.
Right. So I had someone come and she kind of looked at me and it almost felt like, she knew something that I didn't. And I realized later she mentioned that she's been watching the podcast. So she did feel like she knew me already. And because she'd been watching the podcast, she was pretty much already sold on the whole experience of the midwife. And it was just a great consult. And I realized then that these podcasts are giving people an opportunity. It's like I'm inviting them into my personal life. And they feel like they know me before they meet me, which is great. as long as
Yeah, it's intimidating, obviously. Now, even your mom made a comment. I remember your mom said, I watched your podcast and I didn't realize how intelligent my daughter was in the relationship to birth. Because the mom and daughter conversation on generally is at a different level. When she
Right.
sits and consumes a podcast, you see in the other version of you.
She sees midwife Shannon, not
Yeah.
daughter Shannon.
And so that was exciting for me, for you to experience that your
my mom
haven't.
thinks I'm intelligent.
Your mom thinks you're intelligent. So the biggest, looking back, the biggest takeaway of just getting involved, getting yourself outside of your normal box, right? And launching some of these dreams, because you said that you wanted to do a book, which you have your manuals available now. You've taught your class. Any one of your students now could get this manual, which has never been available before.
Right.
So it's available. It's on your website. And then you also had, other wins. So what's your biggest takeaway of working with Life Journey Productions and working with me to try to launch all of these different dreams that you've had?
In a nutshell, I think it would just be that I have somewhere that I can take all this stuff in me, all these dreams, these visions of things that I want to do, and I can hand it to someone else and they can organize it, prioritize it,
Right.
and just tell me, okay, just do this. And then when I do that, they can tell me, just do this next. And I can take it out of here and just set it aside and know that it's still getting accomplished, but I don't have to constantly be trying to figure out how to do it on my own.
And for me, every single person that I work with is a little different.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had a front row seat of all of your wishes, right, and all your dreams. And
I was his guinea pig.
yeah, and I really felt like there's certain things that you could do to help you make this transition into what you're trying to accomplish, which means your business is thriving. You're one person. You can only take so many clients because you have this 9-month relationship and then some.
Right.
But there was a lot of people that were wanting to be connected with you. There's a lot of people out there that need to be educated.
That was another thing. I've had people comment, after midwifery care, you really get to know your midwife and you become friends. And so it's kind of sad,
Right.
that last appointment. We're both a little bit sad that we won't be seeing each other all the time regularly. And I've had people comment that they love being able to watch the YouTube version of the podcast because they feel like they still get to visit with me.
Yeah.
So that was good.
So one of the things that I've seen that really has been fascinating to me that I didn't expect was you have a student midwife
Yes.
that you're mentoring, and you have a relationship with her that's been established as being a client, and then now someone that you're mentoring. One of the things that I've noticed is that relationship's grown. You guys do the show together. She
Right,
co-hosts,
right.
and I've seen her grow. So this could impact your relationships with other people that she's not really staff, but she is because she goes to birth and stuff with you. So talk about how maybe doing these new steps has enriched that relationship, because now you guys are doing even more together, right, with the podcast?
Yeah, I feel like with my student, she is having opportunities that she never would have had. It's also stretching her and growing her. And I think it's interesting because we'll talk about a certain subject together and bounce off each other. And I think it's helped her realize how much she really does know already.
Right.
And she has a lot of good input on these podcasts. She's very knowledgeable, and I think it's probably encouraged her.
Yeah. Plus, I get a chance to see who's in your circle, right? And I told you, I really think it would be a great podcast together. I think she adds a lot to your podcast. She has a different personality, and she's also really good on camera. And
Yeah.
I don't know that she's been on stage before. She's done some singing, but she's not, to our knowledge, done an interview type thing. And she's very, very good at it. And I've seen her grow as well. So that's a dynamic that can take place. Obviously, getting things launched like your Natural Care,
Right?
For pain relief manual, which is available now, and then just other stuff that you're doing with social media. So what do you think the end result is going to be to go to this next level? Because you have LinkedIn now, you're using your Natural Care Midwifery Facebook page more often. You have a podcast. You also have a YouTube channel. So you're already seeing clients recognize you. But what do you see going down the road, or what's your hope going down the road?
Quite honestly, my hope is that as I get older and it's just harder and harder
Right.
to do the physical part of midwifery care down the years coming up,
Right.
that I can actually back off a little bit and do more of this.
Right. Because you're going
do
to still
some teaching.
Yeah, you're still going to have influence over some of the same women
Right.
or their children or their friends.
I'm hoping I build a network so that when it comes a point where I can't physically do midwifery as much as I am now, that I can back off and do some other things. I can teach classes. I can write books. I can do more podcasts. I can do YouTube education, just all of that.
So part of the reason I really felt like you would be a great starting point for this new business called Life's Journey Production was I was going to have to use a lot of my skill set and a lot of my resources. So what are some things that you saw us do?
And I'm a hard client.
Yeah, you're a hard client.
I'm a hard client.
So what are some things? So we know we've done video like this. You've done a podcast. But
We've
behind
done
the scenes with your manual, what are some other things that we did?
Photo shoots, editing. We've done some...
Book production.
We did book production. We've done blogs, the podcasts.
Right. Mugs.
Started Instagram, printed mugs.
And the mugs are primarily for your guests that come on your podcast. We present those to them as a gift because we want them to take something home with them and thank them. And so is there any other areas that you have kind of dreamed about that you still want to explore? Because we talk about We Launch Dreams, and I'm the senior dream finder, dream launcher. So are there any other hidden dreams going down the road as things begin to loosen up with clients and maybe move more over into teaching and training? And
that's a loaded question, but I think I would have to say I have a dream of doing some missions type work.
Okay.
Because
you already went to
Guatemala.
You went to Guatemala and gathered some supplies and took them to a midwife that works.
I think I would like to do some teaching overseas.
And then you have some online training that you're getting ready to do. So you're going to have an online class that people can sign up for and purchase. And then you actually have some support videos that go with your natural pain relief for labor manual that are coming out very soon. And then we revamped your website as well because we needed to get it ready. You have a store there now.
And when I look back, a lot has been accomplished in a few months.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's amazing. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for putting up with my expanding you. Yeah, but yeah, I really am excited because I really believe that things are changing in the social media scope of things. Who would have thought that you could sit in your house, do a podcast? The tools are not that expensive, and you can take this on location. We could literally take what we're using right now and move it. We did Justice Family Chiropractic for one of your More About Birth podcasts, and they can see that on your More About Birth page and on Natural Care Midwifery.
And honestly, if you have all this stuff going on in your head and all these dreams and all these ideas and you don't even know what to do with them, seriously, he's your guy. Not because he's my husband, but because that's how his brain works. That's what he's good at, and he can take it and organize it and make it into something that can be accomplished.
Well, I was blessed by a business, a large RV dealership I worked for, and they gave me an opportunity to work in content, to explore some of my skill sets. I learned so much, being involved in the social media, answering and social media every day. And it just let me know that there's this huge world out there. I think they're actually all doing most of their advertisement now on social media. They're not using television anymore, which is a major change. And that just made me realize that.
Yeah, do people watch commercials on TV anymore?
It's amazing. So if you're wondering if the landscape's changing, it is. I've seen major businesses who have been very successful. This business is one of the most successful RV dealerships that I've ever seen, and I've been associated with a lot of them. I mean, they have a store opening in Pennsylvania, different places. So a shout out to those guys. Thank you so much for letting me use my skill set and learn to do this. But I'm just glad that we're able to talk with you today and be on your set, have More About Birth, and you let me have a mug.
On my set in my house where you live.
Yeah, where I live.
Very funny.
Yeah, anyway. Well, thanks for tuning in to Life's Journey Productions. Shannon Bennett is not only my wife, but also the host of More About Birth podcasts. And if you'd like to see a little of what we do here, that's the test case. And you can hear that she says it's been successful. And so plan on being stretched, but plan on growing, and then plan on having new experiences like your mom and your clients walking in.
You want your mom to think you're intelligent, just let Keith do a podcast.
There you go. So we'll see you here on the channel next time. Thanks for checking it out. And hopefully we'll help you launch your dream really soon. Thanks.